Hello everybody, and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm back again to bring you another top 10 list, and today we are going to go through my favourite top 10 Kurt Russell movies. An iconic actor who's done many iconic films over the years and played some fantastic characters, and is one of my favourite actors. And I was inspired to do this list after watching his recent Christmas film, The Christmas Chronicles, on Netflix, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and there is a review on the channel for that film. So I hope you enjoy this list. I would love to hear in the comments what your favourite Kurt Russell movies are, and as always we will start with a few omissions that didn't quite make my top 10 list. The Christmas Chronicles. I've just mentioned it. I thought I would give this another mention, an honorary mention, because it is just such a good film, guys, and it's loads of fun, and it's a great Christmas film, and will probably be remembered as one of Kurt's best performances, so it's on the list here. We have Overboard, that was released in 1987. This is just a fun comedy movie, and it showed the great on-screen chemistry between the real-life couple of Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. I can't bring myself to watch the remake, but I might, out of morbid curiosity, try it one day. Released in 1992, the action thriller Unlawful Entry, one of the many films where Kurt kind of plays the everyman. And he's got to fight back against adversity, and this is the film where the psycho cop Ray Liotta stalks him and his wife. Maybe you might be surprised that this doesn't actually make my top 10 list. I do acknowledge that Escape from New York is a classic film, a cult classic film, but I've never really, to be honest guys, been a huge fan of it, but obviously it is a great Kurt Russell film. And Breakdown, which was released in 1997, another one of his everyman roles, where his wife is kidnapped by some like rednecks, truck driving rednecks, and he's got to basically try and rescue her from the clutches of these guys. It's a really good film, this, guys, and a great Kurt Russell role. So coming in at number 10, might surprise a few people here, can't be considered as anything but a flop. 1998 Soldier. I can't help but like this film, guys. I think it's got a lot of heart, and Kurt Russell gives a really good performance. It's underappreciated, I think, this film, and a lot of people just completely dismiss it because it was such a flop at the time. But if you actually give this film a go and watch it, there's a lot to enjoy here. Yeah, there are some cliches in it, but I really quite like this film, guys, so it's at number 10 on my list. At number 9 we have 1996's Executive Decision. Again, this is one of those everyman roles where Kurt Russell plays an analyst, I think it is, who has to basically go on this mission with Steven Seagal and his elite soldiers to bring down a plane that has got some terrorists on it that are threatening to release some kind of bomb. It's just a great film, this, guys. Lots and lots of fun, really well made, some great performances in it, and the central one of Kurt Russell really carries this film, and it deserves to be number 9 on my list. At number 8 we have Backdraft, that was released in 1991. Absolute stellar cast here. You've got Donald Sutherland, Robert De Niro, William Baldwin, Scott Glenn, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and of course Kurt Russell. Just a fantastically well made film by Ron Howard. The fire scenes are really gripping. There's some heartbreaking scenes in it. The brother relationship between Kurt Russell and William Baldwin, you really buy. It's just a high quality film with a gut wrenching ending, I suppose you could say, and definitely one of Kurt Russell's finest films. Highly recommended. At number 7 on this list, one you might not anticipate. A lot of people talk about this film when it comes to Kurt Russell. The Mean Season, where Kurt Russell plays a journalist who is on the track of a particularly sinister serial killer that connects with Kurt Russell and feeds him tips and info and all this kind of stuff. The only weak part of this film is Mariel Hemingway, who plays his wife in it. Her acting is not what you would call top quality, but the film is really well made, and I quite like these types of films, so it's a change of pace for Kurt Russell, this one. At number 6 we have The Hateful Eight. Funnily enough, I was just watching a list the other day of this, and somebody listed this as Quentin Tarantino's worst film, which blew my mind. I absolutely love it. I think it's one of his best films, and Kurt Russell is always good in westerns. There's a cowboy deep inside Kurt Russell, and I just absolutely love this film. It's not just a Kurt Russell film, it's an ensemble piece, and everybody gives great performances, but the standout performances for me are Kurt Russell, Samuel L. Jackson. Definitely worth a watch. At number 5, Bone Tomahawk. I didn't watch this one for a long time. I couldn't bring myself to watch it after watching the trailer, because I'm such a fan of Kurt Russell, and it looked really brutal, and I didn't like the way it portrayed Kurt in the trailer, I guess. But after watching it, it just blew me away. I watched and reviewed this, I think it's this year, for the first time. Love it. I just love this film. It's a fantastic western with some great actors in it, and Kurt Russell absolutely carries this film. It's a great western horror, and if you haven't seen it, I strongly recommend it. One of his finest. Number 4, Tango and Cash. Massive guilty pleasure this. The on-screen chemistry between Stallone and Kurt Russell was fantastic. The action is stupid 80s action, but loads and loads of fun. Great comedy, great chemistry. It's just one of those 80s action classics that it's just wonderful to watch today still. They don't mind poking fun at each other in this film. It's very tongue-in-cheek, not to be taken seriously. Loads and loads of fun, so that's why it's made it quite high on my list, guys. It's just great fun, this one. Number 3, absolute classic film, Big Trouble in Little China. Again, massive flop when it was released, and it has been rightly recognised as a true cult classic. I keep hearing whispers that this might be getting a remake. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but the original, the John Carpenter original, is brilliant, and I think Kurt Russell did some fantastic, some of his best work with John Carpenter, and this is just a great cult classic action comedy. What else can you say about this? It's just a fantastic movie. Number 2, Tombstone. Probably my favourite western of all time. I just reviewed this fairly recently on the channel as a classic film review, and I gave it a straight 10 out of 10. It's flawless in my opinion, this film. Iconic performances, not just by Kurt Russell, but we got Val Kilmer as well, who I think gives the best performance of Doc Holliday I've ever seen on screen. Utterly fantastic western, epic in scale, really well made, and if you haven't seen Tombstone, you really must put it on your list as priorities to watch. Number 2 on my list. And at number 1, probably not a surprise to anybody, The Thing. The John Carpenter's classic Thing. Iconic, terrifying, my favourite horror film arguably of all time. It flips between this and The Exorcist, and it usually depends on which one I've watched most recently. What can you say about this film? It's perfection in regards to the horror that it delivers, and Kurt Russell's performance as MacReady in this film, again iconic, definitely deserves to be number 1 of my favourite Kurt Russell films. So there you go, guys, that's my favourite top 10 Kurt Russell movies. There might be some surprises in there for you, there might be some that aren't a surprise, there might be some that you're thinking, oh, how on earth did this not make the list? Well, I haven't seen every single Kurt Russell film for a start. There may well be a couple out there that deserve to be in this list, but I might not have seen them, which is why I would love you guys to put in the comments what your favourite Kurt Russell films are. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time on Screen Stars.